Hi guys, this is Sai Kumar Kortewada. In this video, we will learn about on callback method in signals. So there is a method called as on which we can use on our createEffects and which we can use for controlling our signal tracking. So let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code for giving a brief with an example. So now, for example, I have a case where you have something like an age, because we are familiar with this example in our previous video, so I'm using the same thing. So set age, and let me use something called as create signal. So I'm just creating a signal over here, and the age is 10. Let me use 10, and I'm creating one more signal where that is related to count, and I'm using something called as set count. I'm using create signal of I want to get this value as 0 initially. So let me save this, and let me create a paragraph which will show us the age value, and the age value is something like age of, because it's a getter function. Let me copy this and put it over here, and let me get the count value over here, and this is something like count. Now let me create a button. So on this button click, I want to update few things that is related to age as well as count. First thing, we'll update the age alone. So now I'm using update age. So I want to create a method called as onClick, and on this onClick I want to update the age value. So let me use set age of, I want to get my previous age value, and I want to add +1 for that. So let me save this. Now whenever we are clicking on this button, my age should update with 1. Let me check that. So when I'm clicking on this, age is getting updated with 1. Let me go here. Now I want to print this age and count value, but I want to print only when the age is updated, not the count. So let me use something called as createEffect, because we want to listen to that values. And inside this, we can have a arrow function, and this arrow function helps us to track, or whenever some signals gets updated, this createEffect will be invoked. For example, I'm using something like console.logoff. I'm using a signal called as age inside this. So whenever I update the age, this createEffect will be called. Let me go here and reload, click on this. So age is getting updated and that createEffect is getting called. So in the same way, for example, if you have a button and you want to set the count value, and that should be updated with our count value and update count. So I have one more button where this will be updating the count. So in this case, if you want to console this and if you want to listen this, so what we generally do is we'll create some console over here, and we'll get the count value over here and count value. But the problem in this create is this createEffect will be invoked every time whenever there is an age update or whenever there is a count update. So in this case, it is always a conflicting part for us, because whenever I click on count, count gets updates, age get updates. Let me click this, age and count, age and count. When I click on count, age and count. So everything is invoked, and you are able to see that console whenever there is an update in the count or age. Now for avoiding this, we have one technique called as untrack. So we will use something like an untrack, which we learned in our previous videos. So this untrack will receive a signal reference, and that signal reference will not be tracked. So that is how we generally do. But for example, here we are using a createEffect only with one. But in some cases, you may be having n number of signals inside this. For everything, we have to write untrack, 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 except this age, because here the priority is age, because when there is an update in the age, then only they should be invoked. In for that case, why I should make every signal as untrack? Instead, what we can do is we can track only the age by using on method or on callback, which can be used on the createEffect. So how I can do that? It is very simple. Just let me remove this. Instead of using createEffect alone, we can use something called as on. So on is a method, and this on method will help us with two parameters. One is the current value which you want to track. So I want to track my age value, And the second one is the callback function again for this. Whenever there is an update in this age, then it will give you the callback, and this callback will receive some set of values, the current value, and if you want to get the previous value also, you can get the previous value. So that's how you can get the age, that is current age and previous age. Let me use previous age. Now let me save this. Let me go here, and now let me print both of this, console.log of age, and this is direct value, and let me use console.log of previous age. This is also direct value. So we don't need to use age of something like this. Okay. To avoid the confusion between our signal and the normal one, let me use current age and print this current age. Let me save this. So let's go here and clear this off and reload. So now the current value is 10 because this is the initial value and I don't have any previous value. That's why the previous age is undefined. Whenever I update the age, my current value is 11, the updated value, and the previous value is 10. Like that, you can get the previous value as well as current value. For our better understanding, let me use current age, comma, and let me use previous age and comma. So now you are getting a previous value and the current value. That is fine. But what is our motto? Whenever we are using some signals inside this, for example, I am using something like count. So I am using a count inside my age signal. So let me use a count over here. So this will not be tracked. Why? Because we are using on. If you are not using on method, then what it will do, it will see this create effect, and this create effect will always track everything, whatever the signals which we are using inside that callback. Now we are only targeting for the age, which should be the callback function, and that age, whenever it gets updated, this particular callback will be invoked. If this age is not updated, then this callback will never be called. Let's see that. Let me go here, clear this off and reload. For the first time, my current age is 10 and the count value is 0 and the previous age is undefined. Let me clear this. Let me update the age. So whenever I update the age, it is getting the previous age, current age, and the count value, which is the current count value. And let me clear this off. When I update the count, your count got updated, but the callback function which is created on the create effect is not called at all. So let me click on age again. Now the current value of the count is 1. My current value of age is 12 and the previous value is 11. So that is how you can use on method. That means if you want to track only one and if you want to ignore everything inside that callback or inside that logic, you can use something like on method or on callback inside create effect. So that is how you can use this create effect with on callback. Let me clear this off and reload. Now on the reload, for the first time itself you are able to see these consoles, but you don't want to do that. I want to call this only whenever we update the age, not for the initial time. So what I'll do is I'll just clear this initial values or initial calls by using this parameter. So we have on here, and inside this on, let me use something called as differ. So let me use an option called as differ and let me make it as true. If the differ value is true, then it will not call for the first time. Let me clear this off and reload. See, you didn't got any consoles over here. Let me reload again. You didn't got the console. So it will not invoke for the first time, but for the second time it starts invoking. So whenever I click on this, the age is 11 and the previous age value is undefined and you are getting this count as 0. So that's how you can use on callback in your create effect in your solidjs. Hope you are clear with on and untrack as well as badge updates, which are reactively working together in solidjs, and these are the core concepts in solidjs which helps us in maintaining and tracking our signals. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.